Hi, I'm Phoenix Alexander, and I am a licensed massage therapist. I have been for 30 years now. And I'm also a certified Qigong instructor and certified food healing educator. And I'm in beautiful Waikiki, Honolulu, Hawaii. And I'm going to share with you some of the scientific studies validating the proven healing aspects of some of the foods that are grown here in Hawaii. That way you can choose the foods that will help you to stay well. Let's begin. The first food that I'd like to highlight today is papaya. There are two different kinds of papaya grown here in Hawaii. There's the red Hawaiian papaya, and there's the orange papaya. The red papaya would have more lycopene, and the orange papaya would have more beta-cryptoxanthin. Well, why would you want these? They're found to be highly bioavailable, meaning your body can absorb them readily, and they fight free radical damage, so they're anti-aging. Papayas are also great for irritable bowel syndrome, and if you want to help with digestion, particularly to digest proteins, you would eat papaya just before or after a meal. Papayas are also excellent for pain and inflammation. So you would want to take papaya apart from a meal before eating a meal, but particularly first thing in the morning would be great to help you with pain and inflammation. They have great fiber in them for digestion, and studies have been done in Japan showing that they help with bone formation and also inhibit bone resorption. So they're great for your bones. And papayas are delicious. Okay, the first food that we talked about was papaya, and I've gone ahead and cut into this. This one is the red papaya. It has the seeds here and it's very ripe. It's really delicious. And I suggest that to help you with your anti-aging campaign and also to fight free radicals, which attack your DNA and cause damage to your cells and other parts of your body, that you work in some papaya into your diet. You can use it in a smoothie also, or you can eat it fresh. Papaya is amazing. All right, we're going to cut into this second papaya and see if this one is an orange papaya or a red papaya. It wasn't labeled, so we'll see. Again, this one's also very ripe. Okay, this one's going to be the orange papaya, and you can definitely tell a difference between the red and the orange papaya. So enjoy some papaya today. So the next fruit that I'd like to talk about is mangoes, and they're also grown here in Hawaii. And mangoes are high in a carotenoid that is called violaxanthin. And violaxanthin was found in studies on cancer to affect how cancer cells reacted to medicine. So it helped to reduce the cancer cells' resistance to medicine. So violaxanthin is a fat-soluble carotenoid. That means it stays in the body for around 30 days and helps with fighting the free radicals. So it's a very powerful antioxidant. Also, the mango is high in an aromatic terpene, and it's called myrcene. And myrcene has been shown to help reduce pain by creating self-made or endogenous opioids in our bodies. And scientists have found that the self-made endorphins are 20 times more powerful than morphine in fighting pain. So mangoes can help in our ability to fight pain. Mangoes are high on the glycemic index. They have a lot of fruit sugar in them. So they're not good for people with cancer or for diabetes. And people have been known to gorge on mangoes because they taste so amazing. This myrcene sometimes leaks out the bottom of the mango in a sap form, and it can be very irritating to the skin. It can burn. In fact, I have a massage client who told me that she grew up in Hawaii, and when I told her I was coming here, she said, you know, we had mangoes that grew on our property at home. And when I was a kid, I was out in my flip-flops all the time playing, and the mango fruit would be on the ground, some of the overripe fruit that fell, and she would come in with red rashes on her feet and sometimes all the way up her calves, and it was from the mango sap. So myrcene is very powerful. So this is an excellent fruit, and it's good to include in your smoothies or to eat just as it is. So I hope that you'll enjoy some mango in your diet. So we talked a little bit about the properties of mango. Let's take a minute and cut into it. This one is not nearly as ripe as the papaya that I showed you a few minutes ago. And this is not a particularly sharp knife, but you do what you can when you're on vacation. Here we go. We'll see that the mango is quite fibrous, and it would work really well in a smoothie, but a lot of people just eat the mango just as it is. Amazing. So try to get some mango in your diet. So the next food that we want to talk about is coconut and coconut oil. And coconuts, of course, are grown in Hawaii. In fact, I've learned that people have been actually killed by coconuts falling out of trees. So you got to be aware, if you live in the area where coconuts are grown, not to go underneath a coconut tree. So let's talk about coconut oil. Some people are very afraid of taking in a saturated fat, but our bodies need saturated fats. And coconut oil is really good for our health, contrary to what you may have heard. Scientific studies show that coconut oil helps to reduce waist circumference. So it's a great tool in weight loss. It is also shown to have ferulic acid, which is the most highly bioavailable antioxidant. It's colorless, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier. I was in a massage continuing education class some years ago, and it was taught by a PhD psychiatrist. And he said, if you don't remember anything else about what we talked about today, what I do want you to remember is to take 1 tablespoon of coconut oil every day to help your brain health. So he had talked about disorders of the brain, and he said coconut oil is really an ally in helping your brain. What we also know is that it is a medium chain saturated fat. Why is that important? Well, it has the ability to cover and saturate bacteria and viruses and break the outer membrane up. So in that way, it is antiviral. There are studies being done and have been done how coconut oil helps to fight something as serious as HIV. So it's a really important thing to add to your diet, and studies show that it does not raise the cholesterol levels in unhealthy ways. 73% of the studies show it doesn't raise the cholesterol at all, and 27% shows that it does raise the cholesterol slightly, but it always helps to balance it out and helps more with the HDL, the good cholesterol levels. So coconut oil has a high smoke point, So it's because it's fully saturated, it has no room for free radicals. So it's a really good oil to cook with. I have some fresh organic coconut here, and you can buy coconut at the grocery store, and if you read the ingredients, it often has propylene glycol in it. That is something you do not want to be taking into your body. So the organic coconut is a little drier, and studies have shown that coconut is really good for people with irritable bowel syndrome and diarrhea. In fact, you can make coconut macaroons with the coconut oil in the coconut, and that will help to reduce the symptoms of IBS and diarrhea. So that's important, especially when you're traveling. A lot of people get traveler's tummy, or they get diarrhea when they're traveling. So a little awkward to talk about, but it's really important to know. And so coconut, and in particular the ferulic acid found in coconut, was found to be the most bioavailable, meaning it's absorbed the best of any antioxidant tested. So coconut is a really important part of our diet, and it tastes wonderful. So I'm going to challenge you to add more coconut and coconut oil into your diet. So the next food that we'd like to talk about is, or I'd like to talk about, is pineapple. Pineapple has properties that are similar to papaya in that they help with digestion, and particularly digesting proteins. And pineapples also help with pain and inflammation. So they did a scientific study on healthy adults who had knee pain. And when the pineapple was taken at 200 and 400 milligrams, they had significant reduction in knee pain. So if you want to use the anti-inflammatory and pain-reducing properties of pineapple, then you would take it in between meals so that it wasn't trying to digest, just working on the anti-inflammatory properties. And if you want to use it to help you with your digestion, particularly digesting proteins, then you would take it right before your meal. So something that's really exciting and important about pineapple is in Queensland, Australia, they did studies on cancerous tumors, and they found that in the stem, so you'd peel away the leaves and there's a little woody stem right in here, they found that there were proteins in the pineapple stem that helped to reduce cancerous tumors. So that's pretty exciting. Now, you wouldn't be able to just eat the stem. You would have to use that in a 3-horsepower blender. Blendtec makes one, and also Vitamix. So the pineapple tastes amazing in smoothies or fresh, and it's really good for helping to clear out anything that's undigested in your colon. I hope that you'll try some pineapple today. All right, we talked a little bit about the properties of pineapple, and some people are kind of intimidated about how to cut a pineapple. So I'm going to show you step by step how to cut a pineapple. I don't know exactly how this will go with the knives provided here from the hotel, but I'll do my best. So you would set the pineapple on its side and cut off the top. This is a pretty ripe pineapple, and this is a very dull knife. All right, and then you'd save that to cut the medicinal stem out. Then turn it this way. Oh, all the juice coming out. It's wonderful. If they had a cutting board, I'd use that, but they don't. Then cut it in half. This is a rather pathetic knife. Try not to cut myself. Then cut off the end, the bottom. And then free it from the outside. You're going to cut a little bit of the center away. This is for if you are serving it on a platter. If you're putting in your blender, then you'd leave this part in. And then you just slice it. Heavenly, it's perfectly right. I didn't tell you, and I should have. When you're choosing a pineapple, you want to find one that's a little bit yellow on the outside, but you smell the bottom here. And if it smells sweet, then pineapple-like, it's ready. You want to choose that. The ones that are totally green on the outside are obviously not right. All right, that's pineapples for you. Okay, so I've talked to you about all the properties of the fruits that you see here, and now I'm going to make a smoothie. So I have a smoothie every day for my health as part of the food healing protocol. Now at home I have a 3 horsepower Blendtec, and it blends pretty much anything. And the reason you want a 3 horsepower blender is that it blends things down to the smallest level, a micron level, which makes it very available to your body, so it's very easily digestible, even to people who have digestive problems. So I'm going to put in the pineapple first. This is a little blender I found on Amazon called Syncred, and I was quite impressed with the power of this, and I have been doing a lot of traveling lately, so I have been taking this with me, and it does quite a good job. Sometimes I'll buy frozen berries, and if I have fresh fruit, of course, I'll do that. A little bit later, I'll be talking about some of the berries and the antioxidants that they have. So we've put some mango in. I'm going to use a little bit of the red papaya. And we've got a little bit of the staff out in the hallway being a little bit noisy here, but it is a hotel and they're doing their job, so what do you do? So here is my smoothie. I'm going to put a little coconut in it, put a little bit more water in. And this one, the top screws on. I have coconut a little bit of everywhere here. And you just push down. And there it is, our smoothie, a tropical fruit smoothie. All right, that concludes our demonstration. Have a great day. Hi, we're going to conclude our food healing studies today with macadamia nut. In Hawaii, macadamia nuts have been grown commercially for over 130 years. And they're included in our food healing protocol because they have a very special fatty acid profile. There's something in them called palmitoleic acid, which is a monounsaturated fat, and it does some really important things in the body. There's a study that was done that showed that palmitoleic acid found in macadamia nuts lowers the C-reactive protein in the body. The C-reactive protein is a pathogenic substance that's manufactured in the body when there's too much inflammation. And doctors test for this C-reactive protein to see how high your risk is for heart disease. So one study showed that people who consume 220 milligrams of macadamia nuts daily lowered this C-reactive protein in their body by 44%. So we could conclude that macadamia nuts are lipid or fat medicine. In fact, there's 75% fat in macadamia nuts and only 8% protein. But it still looks like the fatty acid profile is the best in macadamia nuts because it's got lower omega-6 oils, which are prone to oxidation, and high omega-7s. So it tastes amazing. It's saturated fat, monounsaturated, and it has a real buttery taste to it. And so putting chocolate over it, chocolate is also a healing food, is a little bit like gilding the lily, probably overkill, but it tastes amazing. So we want to eat nuts in moderation. Unless there's a specific reason for you to eat more, it's best to eat about 1 ounce of nuts each day. And the best way to do it is to get them in the shell and crack them yourself and eat them immediately, because that lowers the oxidation of the nut. So while in Hawaii and anywhere else you can get your hands on macadamia nuts, please enjoy.